Segments. Okay, what we've done now, I've clamped the pipe against this fixture that I use for slitting the PVC, because it gives me a good straight edge, and I put it on the wall, which is a fairly straight. So I use the clamps to make sure that it holds in a straight position while it sets. This is the end of the copper pipe. I've bonded copper T on the end so I can put a handle in if I need to torque the tube out for separating it. These are the clamps that are set in place. Yeah, the end of the PVC pipe, I painted one end because once you slit it, it's not perfectly symmetrical, and this way you make sure they get the right halves together, otherwise you could... There it comes. Looks like it came out pretty good. Let's see. That's for a 55-inch long tube. And the last one, so I'll remove these clamps. Steel pipe first. That's part of it, that's the rest of it. And we'll put the rails in this thing. So from right to left is the copper tube with the nylon wrap around it. Next is the spiral electrical cable harness with 3 sections of the half-inch Schedule 40 pipe slit to make my spacer. There's the graphite epoxy, the final part. The 2 halves of the Schedule 80 1 1/4-inch nominal irrigation pipe, and the hose clamps that hold it all together. Now these are the 4 graphite epoxy tubes. They're all complete. That's all I need. 2 of them at 53 inches. The other's 63. Okay, here I have the 4 tubes already completed. 4 tubes come in at 1 pound 5 ounces. This video has been done as a postscript to the previous one. I have completed making the 4 truss tubes I needed, and the way these things work, every time you do one, you learn a little bit. And so what I'm going to show is the little things that I've learned, that I've changed, that deviate from what you've seen. What I was most concerned about was extracting the copper tube because of the tremendous gripping strength of the spiral wrap. I found that after each time it's good to really burnish or clean the copper tube with a steel wool. One of the things I found that I made the biggest change was that I did the spiral slightly different. I put my nylon wrap on the copper tube first, and in order to really get it on, you have to actually use a piece of tape to get a good grip to hold the start, and then wrap the spiral. It's not necessary that it be right butt up. It can actually take a bit of gap. It's not gonna hurt anything. Once you have the wrap on there, then you can place your strips outside of the wrap. That works out good enough. And then once you have that, you basically spiral on the spiral wrap tube. This is an electronic wire harness tube. What I found was that on the long tube, it gets pretty tough once it gets on quite a ways, but you go at the other end and you can basically unwrap it and pull it along. So in the combination of the two, you can get this thing, get it pretty well filled out. Oh, this is the best way I found for actually putting the saran wrap. I laid down the full sheet, the full 12 inches, taped on one edge, and I wrapped it around the open edge. Now this allows me to pull it, so I got some pretty nice tension on that, and that's almost a closure. So that's still under high tension. I can come in with a real simple cut. And that puts an absolute minimum amount of material. Now I'll come through here, find the edge, and then make sure I'm sealed. Now this may not be necessary, but it's not worth taking a chance. Just so that the resin doesn't creep up through there. Now the ends are relatively open. If your composite's only through one small part, then we would secure these ends. Now one thing I ran across, I mentioned I had a problem with one particular part where the thing was too full. On the next one, just to cover myself, before I wrapped that end, I went and got a piece of irrigation tubing, drip irrigation tubing, and all you have to do is just set one end of it inside of that, and then you wrap it, tie it in place like that. Now you take the other end and you just stick that inside of your vacuum hose outlet, and you just tape it all shut. You got to make sure you leave enough excess coil so that when you wrap up the fabric, that's fairly free and easy to work. And as I mentioned,